Have you ever stopped to think, how do certain gaming items become rare or end up being really hard to find, especially when it comes to Sonic merchandise? Just think about all the rare pieces of Sonic merch that exists. Crystal cubes, plushies, Sega World London pin badges. There's several factors as to why an item becomes rare, but I think people can universally agree that these reasons are the most likely reasons why an item becomes rare. How in demand it is, if lots of people want it, it becomes harder to find. If it's a limited release, the least number of units, the rarer that item is. Where an item was sold, if an item is locked to one region, it becomes much harder to get. And when the item was sold, typically, the older the item, the rarer it is. There's a few more reasons, but any one of those will likely impact an item and its rarity. A combination of those has a much greater impact. At least, that's my thoughts on how and why an item becomes rare. But what about you? Do you think that's a fair assessment on how items become rare, Pat-Mac?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty accurate.
So when you consider those factors and apply it to today's subject, it makes the item all the more amazing. You see, I've got this box here, and this box is just full of rare and hard to find Sonic movie merch. I mean, the stuff like this, the Sonic movie popcorn holder, we've got the Sonic movie collectible drinking cup from certain cinemas, and oh yeah, this is really cool. A fan actually sent me the Sonic movie Pizza Hut tie-in menu. Yeah, how cool is that? And then there's also something really awesome as well. We've got the old Sonic movie design, yes, the Manhog collectible figures. Remember these things where we all thought they were cancelled? Haha, no, they're actually out and they're here. I've got one in my hand. All of this stuff is rare and cool in its own right, but there's something else in this box which is even rarer. In fact, it's currently so rare and so hard to find that it's probably the rarest piece of Sonic movie merch available right now. In fact, it might even be a candidate for the rarest piece of Sonic merch right now. So what is it that I'm actually talking about? Well, I'm talking about this little guy. So you're probably thinking, what is that plush? And what's the story behind it? And why do I think it's so rare? Well, just sit back and relax. This is the story of the PCO Group's Sonic movie plush line, also known as the Joker Sonic plush, and its creepy, creepy smile. So let's get the obvious questions out of the way first. How did this plush line get the nickname Joker Sonic plush? Well, I'm kind of responsible for that. In an older video I did a few weeks ago, I highlighted several new Sonic movie items, including the plush, and noted how it had a really creepy looking smile, similar to that of the Joker from Batman. And since then, the name Joker Sonic has stuck with a few fellow collectors in order to describe this particular item. So your next question might be, how can a plush that's only been out for a month be a candidate for a rare item, especially since it's still promoting a very successful movie that's still in cinemas? To answer that question, we're now going to go over a brief history of this plush, because this should help explain and illustrate why I believe this is currently the rarest Sonic movie item in existence, and potentially one of the rarest pieces of Sonic merchandise in general. So who actually made this plush? The plush was made by the PCO Group, and if you've never heard of them before, I wouldn't be at all surprised. They're essentially the place to get cinema supplies from, and unless you run a cinema chain, you've likely never encountered them directly before. But as well as selling popcorn machines and drinking cups, they also sell promotional merchandise for various movies. In fact, right now, you can buy promotional movie plushies for Ghostbusters, Scooby-Doo, and even The Grinch. Near to the end of 2019, they began to advertise a range of Sonic movie products, including a Sonic movie plush line. There are only 2 plushies in the set, both stand at around 8 inches tall, which is about the standard for amusement type plushies like this. And you might think, thing. The only difference appears to be that one has its arms folded and the other has his arms unfolded. But if you actually look closer, you can see some very subtle differences. The most obvious one is the smile on the plush. The folded arms plush has a smile only on one side of its face, whereas the arms unfolded plush has the full creepy Joker-like smile. It also appears, at least in the promotional images, that the eyes have slightly different proportions. So if you have one plush and want the other, it's not a simple case of just cutting the string or tying the arms together. They are in fact two different designed plushies. And this is where fans and collectors of Sonic merch begin to ask, where exactly were these plushies sold? The answer to that is the reason why these plushies are so rare and so hard to find, because the PCO group only has a license to sell these plushies directly to cinema chains. Oh, and you might be thinking, well, just go to a cinema and buy one. But let me ask you a question. When was the last time you saw a cinema with a gift shop? You see, the irony is, a gift shop in the cinema was actually fairly common in the early 90s, when Sonic first came out. In fact, my local cinema used to have a large gift shop, and I even bought a T-Rex from it when Jurassic Park first came out. Unfortunately, the shop closed down shortly after this. The cinema is still there, but the gift shop is long gone. Today though, it's extremely rare for cinemas to stock and sell merchandise for films, outside of cups and drinking top figures. In fact, these plushies are so rare and so hard to find that they've only been found in 3 cinemas in 2 countries all over the world, Russia and Germany. To further complicate matters, I ended up contacting the PCO group to try and actually order a box of the plushies, and in the process discovered some more information about their numbers. They told me that they can order and manufacture more if there is a demand for it. However, they currently have 7 boxes of stock remaining. Each box contains 48 plushies, 24 of each plush, meaning they have 168 of the PCO Group's Sonic plushies just sat in boxes at their warehouse waiting to be ordered. Some of you are now probably sat there thinking, hey, that's not bad, cinemas can just order some more, right? Well, you see, now we come to our first problem. The Sonic movie has actually been out for a while now. It's going to be leaving cinemas soon. My question to you is, why would a cinema order stock for a movie that they're no longer showing? And this is going to be a big reason why these plushies are going to become so much harder to find, and potentially going to be some of the rarest Sonic merch. Cinema chains rarely like to order toys like this, and for those that do, when the movie leaves the cinema isn't likely to order promotional items if they're not showing the movie. The license that the PCO group has to make and sell Sonic plushies is limited to people who run cinema chains. You have to actually run a cinema in order for PCO to sell you these products. So we've established that this plush line is quite rare. And rare doesn't necessarily mean expensive, and rare certainly doesn't guarantee good or even high quality. Are these plushies actually any good? Or are there other Sonic movie plushies out there which are in more frequent supply and are just better? So as you've already seen, I'm actually lucky enough to have one of the PCO group's Sonic movie plushies. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a much closer look at this guy, and we're going to try and see if he's actually as good as he is rare. And we're going to do that by not just taking a look at him, but also comparing him to the current Sonic movie plush, which most fans have kind of agreed is the best Sonic movie plush that you can get right now. And that's the one by Toy Factory. So let's get comparing. Okay, so we've got the PCO Group Sonic movie plush here, the large Toy Factory Sonic movie plush, and the smaller Toy Factory Sonic movie plush. So let's just eliminate one of these right away, the larger one. The larger one is better than all of these. It just is. It's a much higher quality item, it's much better material, there's way more detail on it. It's just better in every sense. So it's not really fair to compare this guy to this one, which is designed to be a much larger and a much more impressive plush. But what if we compare this plushie with the smaller one from Toy Factory? Is the PCO Group's version better, or is Toy Factory's better? Let's find out. So when I decided to compare these two plushes, I genuinely thought that the Toy Factory plush would be the better product, but comparing them together, I'm really surprised to find that the PCO plush is in fact better and more detailed in a number of ways. First of all, look at the ears of the PCO Sonic plush, and you'll see that Sonic's inner ear is there and detailed, whereas the Toy Factory plush, it's completely missing. And this isn't just limited to the smaller Toy Factory plush, even the larger Toy Factory plush is missing this detail. Another way that the PCO plush is better is with the nose. On the PCO plush, Sonic, well, they've actually given him a nose, whereas the Toy Factory plush, they've just given him a flap of fabric. The Toy Factory plush though does have a few areas where it clearly has more detail, such as the gloves. Each of Sonic's fingers is clearly defined, whereas the PCO plush just doesn't have this. And the Toy Factory plush also gives Sonic's shoes laces, whereas the PCO plush has no details on the shoes at all. In terms of overall quality, the two plushies feel just as soft and as well made as each other, but the PCO plush hides the stitching much better than the Toy Factory one. This could be due to the darker colour tone, however the shine on Sonic's eyes is in the wrong place on the PCO plush, so it's not perfect in overall quality. One interesting thing to note is that whilst this is the PCO plush variant which only has the half a smile, you can actually make out the indentation on the plush where the full smile should be. So, if you are actually lucky enough to find one of the Joker Sonic plushies in the cinema, I believe they're priced at around £10, which is pretty reasonable, but I really couldn't recommend paying much more than $20 for one. Whilst in my opinion it's slightly better than the smaller Toy Factory plush, it's not better than the larger Toy Factory one. The larger Toy Factory plush is still the superior movie Sonic plush at the moment, but I do really like this plush, just down to the fact it has that creepy smile on its face. It really does give it its own unique character. It really has earned the nickname of the Joker Sonic plush. So in the extremely unlikely case that you happen to find one of the Joker Sonic plushies in the wild, I believe they're priced at around £10 or $12 to $15, which is actually pretty reasonable, but I really couldn't recommend paying much more than £20 for one. Despite how rare and hard to find they are, it doesn't change the fact that there's just better Sonic movie plushies out there. But that said, I do really like this plush line, just down to the fact that it has the creepy smile on its face. It really has earned the nickname of the Joker Sonic plush, and I would love to get my hands on the other one from this set. However, there is technically a Sonic movie plush that's even rarer than this one, but I'm not sure we can count this as being a full plush because, well, play the music. Say hello to Decapitated Movie Sonic. This plush, or rather the Decapitated Head plush, is currently only available in Mexico, and it's a very similar situation to the PCO groups, only available in Mexican cinema chains. So what about you guys? Does anybody out there want the Joker and the Decapitated Sonic plush for the collection? Let me know in the comments. And which do you think is the best Sonic movie plush right now? Just flood those comments with your thoughts. See you next time. Hey guys, just wanted to say thank you so much for checking out the video. If you want to join the Badnik Mechanic army, please smash that like button and click the subscribe and bell notification button. Making these videos wouldn't be possible without the incredible support of my kind Patreon donators, whose names are flying up the screen now. If you'd like to join those awesome people, please use the links in the video description. If you'd like to support the channel in a non-financial way, please share my content on Facebook, Twitter and Reddit. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter, where you can continue the adventures, but most of all, just thank you for taking the time out to enjoy the work I do. It really does mean the world to me. Thank you.